Everyone, and welcome to my craft room. My name's Julianne Richards and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in southern Tasmania. Welcome to this very special card today. Not special in the fact that there's anything hard or fiddly about it. Just special because I designed this one or adapted a design that I saw for a very first demonstrator gathering we were having here in Hobart at the end of July. So I wanted everyone who came along to the gathering to have a card to take away with them, and this is the one that I came up with. You can see here I've cheated a wee bit because I've used the daisy punch, the large daisy punch and the medium daisy punch, which are both retired, but the way I saw it, you could substitute any flower or image that you wanted there. The card was originally designed by Sam at Mixed Up Crafts. I saw it on her Facebook feed. This was her card, the starts of her card, so I started making exactly her card. But it's quite a large card. It actually makes a 7 by 5 folded flat. And because I was doing this with wanting to make multiple kits, I didn't want to use quite as much cardstock and designer series paper as you would use if you persevered with this size. So it was using quite a lot of cardstock and designer series paper. So I've taken, and plus the fact I didn't have envelopes that size as well. So I've scaled it down to a 4 by 6. So this is basically the 4 by 6 that I came up with. If you're doing this as part of the class, everything will be in your kit. If you're doing this one following along, please look for the instructions or the measurements in the description of the post. There we go. So yeah, Sam called it a pop-out panel card, which is probably a pretty good description for it. So that's what I'm going to go with as well. So if you're, as I say, if you're doing this as part of the class, the Tassie gathering, you'll have your kit and everything will be in there, but you will need your glue dots, take your pig tool and a bone folder just to add some, plus some glue or snail, whatever your adhesive of choice is, of course. Okay, so let's get started. I've got this one is in a combination, just before I get rid of it, it's a combination of Calypso Coral and Pretty Peacock with the beautiful sort of earthy tones of that designer series paper. And the flower is in Lemon Lolly. Okay, the one we're going to make is an alternate colour scheme. It's using the different paper again. This is from the Fresh as a Daisy paper, which is lovely, and it's a current catalogue product. So to stick in line with that particular designer series paper, our colours this time are Moody Mauve and Crushed Curry. The little flowers are in Bubble Bath, and the leaves, that's the garden green as well. So watch out for, as I say, watch out for the measurements and the product list in the description. Okay, so we start with this card here. I'll give you the measurements. I'll do the measurements in inches, but I will give them in centimetres in the description as well. So it's 8 inches by 5.5, and it's been scored every 2 inches along, so 2, 4 and 6, and that just gives us that W or M, whichever way you want to look at it, sort of design. Also for the card base, you need another piece of Moody Mauve, and this is 5.5 inches long, 2 3/4 high, and it's been scored at 2 3/4. So basically just into a little square. So that's the one that sits on top. Then you've got various layers and things which I won't bother going into, but as I say, they're going to be in the description. So what we need to do first is decorate our card base with all the various panels. So we've got, as I say, our contrast colour is our Crushed Curry. So I've got 4 layers of crushed curry, and then we've got our designer series paper that we'll bring in next. So I might just add all these first. Probably not a colour combination I would have naturally gone for, but as I say, I drew my inspiration from the colours in the paper. I may need to Oh, now here he comes. The glue's about on its last legs, but I don't want to waste it. I've got a bit of a splodge there, so we'll just get that off on the next piece. It was very special. I'm looking forward. We haven't actually had the gathering yet, but if you're watching this after the gathering, hopefully it went well. Well enough that you've come back to watch the video to make another card, which is really nice. I'm also going to pop this card on my August newsletter, so you'll see it a couple of places. Okay, so here's our 4, just trying to line these up so they're lined up along the top and along the bottom, lined up with each other, and sort of the same distance in each little panel there as well. So there we are. They are all crushed curry, but that one's really pale. Must be different batches. Okay, so now we'll bring in our designer series paper. As I say, this one is the Moody Mauve one. So I've got 2 panels of the tone on tone and 2 with the pretty daisies from the Fresh as a Daisy designer series paper. And I'll pop those, the 2 tone on tone in the middle and the flowers on the outside. Just because the flowers, there's more interest there and you will see them more when the card is on display. That's one. Definitely a lot of pieces to this set. As I was cutting the kits for our gathering, I realised it had quite a few components, but as I say, nothing too complicated. It's just a lot of straight lines and gluing. Those daisies do have a distinct up and down in my view, so I'm sort of making sure I've got them facing the right way, or else it's going to annoy me. There we are. So that's the 4 panels of our card base. In the instructions, I've called them card base back because it sits up at the back of the card. And I'm going to sneeze, excuse me. Oh, bless me. There we go. So that's the back decorated. What we might now do is pop that aside to dry for a second and bring in our little, I've called this card base front, just to be a bit confusing. So we're going to layer this one up as well. So we've got a little boho, not boho blue, Moody Mauve scored piece, and then we're going to add our crushed curry. That can go on straight. I made my kit with scraps from my scraps box, thankfully. It's nice to be able to use up some scraps, and I think I've probably substituted that. I think I've picked a piece of very old bumblebee, to be honest. Yeah, I may, but the difference is indiscernible. Okay, so we've got that there. So you've got also 2 squares of basic white. We'll pop those on as well. Now I'm going to stamp our sentiment. My glue will let me stamp my sentiment first before we go any further with this. So I've got these on, basically because once it's on the card, it's a bit tricky. My youngest is visiting from up north. I can hear him clumping around. Must have just got up. There we are. So that's the little piece that sits in the front of the card. It's the front of the card base. So for sentiments, I'm going to use an oldie but a goodie. It's still current. I continued it over into the catalogue, which was lovely. The Pansy Patch stamp set. Only because it has, well, not only because they are lovely sentiments. It's got this wishing you a little extra happiness just because you're you. That's that one there. And it has a very pretty matching happy birthday as well. So I'm going to pop the larger, the more extensive sentiment on the right hand side. Now, darker version of Moody Mauve is Blackberry Bliss. So I'm going to pop the sentiments in that. So this one's just going to sit smack bang in the middle of that panel, hopefully straight. Came down a bit fast, and it's not exactly centre, but you get the idea. Centre-ish of that right-hand side. And then the happy birthday, and you'll see why I'm doing this in a moment, the happy birthday is going to be slightly up and slightly to the right-hand side. There. Okay, I'll bring that closer so you can see. So that's the sort of sentiment positioning you're going for. Maybe that should be a little bit higher. It's not quite centre, but that's all right. Okay, so that's the sentiment I'm using anyway. Okay, so now we can bring our card back, our card base back, and we can put these two together. So what you need to do with this is the two extreme ends, so that right-hand end and the left-hand end of our little mini card will pop onto the front-facing panels where you've got your daisies of the back card base. So you can see like that. So you actually, and you bring them in so that you get a nice bend in that back. So when it sits up, it basically sits up like that. So the cards support itself with that little triangle that you form. So basically you're forming a triangle. So you can choose whether you make it a really sort of sharp triangle like that, or you can take it out so that you basically see more of the daisies, but it's a more flat triangle. And you might find you have slight difficult getting the card to stand up with a less sharp triangle. So I'm going to bring it so there. So that's the sort of triangle I'm going for. And that basically, let's have a look, probably leaves on either side of the little card front, probably about 1/2 centimetre, or no, probably 1/2 inch, maybe 3/4 centimetre on both sides. So I'm just eyeing that off just to make sure it's the same distance between the end of the little front card and the edge of the card itself. Okay, so lining it up so that distance there is the same as that distance there. So we'll just add a bit of glue onto the back. I'm liking this colour combination. To be honest, I made the original card in the other colour combo, and this one was just in theory, thought it would look okay, and it is. It's looking good. Okay, so wee bits of glue on the end of both of those extreme edges. Bring it in from eye. We had it about there on that side. Bring it in, and it's about the same on the other side. So I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds just to set in place. As always with fun fold classes, do a bit of a sample fold before the glue sets, just so it can be flat. There's no point making a fun fold card if you can't fold it flat and get it in an envelope. So I fold that flat, just give it a little firm down, and those are right. You should also be able to fold this one out and flat as well. So just that's a couple of distances, a couple of positions you should try. Okay, so this one's going to sit up nicely like that on display. Okay, so that's basically the card, isn't it? Okay, so let's get this decorating. For some of us, it's the best part. So it wobbles a bit like that. So what I suggest you do is bring in some stuff, just something. Maybe I've got my glue dots on one side. You may regret that because I think I want them. And a couple of blocks maybe on the other side. just to hold it up so you can decorate it from this position. So now it's nice and firm. It's not going to wobble about. So how we're going to decorate this one is that I have 4 medium-sized daisies from the medium daisy punch. As I say, it's retired, but I don't know that I think most of the people I know have got it and have kept it because it's just so handy. But as I say, you know, whatever is your favourite flower or image at the moment, make it a Christmas one. That would be really nice with Christmas paper and a Santa or a Christmas tree. Okay, so what I'm doing here is that with my thumb and my bone folder, I'm curling my little daisies so that the leaves have a downward curl. They sit there like a little spider on their little legs. So I'm going to do that to all 4. So I've got 4. As I say, this is bubble bath. Be gentle because you can rip your petals off, which would be bad. Have to start again. Now, I've got another card to show you when we finish where I've used the paper florist dies to make my little flowers. So I'll show you that one in a minute. Okay, now I knew I was going to regret putting my glue dots there because I'm going to grab some glue dots. I'll grab another box. I'm going to pair up these little daisies so that you have a more full daisy. So just grab 2 that you've put the nice little curve into a glue dot and put them together. Okay, so it's a little bit more complete. You could use glue for that, but I find that I end up with glue everywhere, which is, if you follow my videos, isn't an unusual state of affairs. It usually is glue everywhere. Forgive my sniff. Forget what I'm doing. So we have 2 little daisies there, like so. So we bring back our delicately balanced card. I'm going to pop 1 daisy on there. Now this part is purely your choice. You can pop, my original idea was to pop 1 daisy there and 1 daisy over there. You could bring both into there if you want. Because we've got some leaves to bring in as well. So we could do that if we wanted to, or as I say, pop 1 here and 1 up here. Actually, for this one, I think I might bring them both over, and I'll show you the other one where I've got them 1 up there and 1 up there in a second. Okay, so I'm going to pop them both there, grab some glue, just because I've got that space there because we've positioned our happy birthday quite well. Doesn't always go that way to plan. So 2 little bubble bath daisies. As I say, the medium daisy punch is actually retired, but I think if you're anything like me, you would never part with yours. You've probably got it in your stash somewhere or something comparable. So these little these little garden green leaves. Now, the garden green leaves, I was going to show you how I did. These are the Park, what is it? Petal Park Builder Punch leaves. It's a little punch that has a flower and a couple of little layered flowers and a leaf in it. And you're obviously meant to punch them all and make a little flower that way. But I've just used the little leaf here just because it's a nice size to go with our daisies. Yeah, so to do that, where's the punch gone? Punch, 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 punch. I had it here because I wanted to show you. Oh, here we are. Okay, so this is the Petal Park Builder Punch. As I said, it's got 3 little daisies and just this little leaf. So obviously I didn't want to have to punch the whole lot. I just wanted that little leaf. So to do that, I trimmed off a piece of the garden green, which I was using for my little leaf. This is 3/4 of an inch wide. Then you can just feed it in to the punch and punch just the leaf. So you don't have to punch all those other bits. So just punch that and the leaf comes straight out. So yeah, if you choose the width of your strip carefully, you can just punch what you want and not waste the rest. Okay, so let's work out where we're going to pop these leaves. I've given, if you're doing, as I say, if you're doing this one as part of our gathering, I've given you 4 leaves to go with your 2 daisies. That way. It's a matter of positioning them. As I say, this is a different configuration that I used to the first card. Yep, that'll do. Actually, I think probably just 1 leaf. I'm not going to go too crazy on the leaves. So use whatever leaves you want. You might end up with a spare like me. I'm definitely going to have to swap glues. So I'm just going to use 1 leaf. Just sometimes, less is more. There we are. Okay, I'll bring that a little bit closer so you can see. Cute. Okay, our leaves look a little bit nude, obviously, or our petals, our flowers look a bit nude. So I've given you in your kit, if you're doing it as part of our little get-together, some bling, some iridescent jewels. And I've given you a couple of the big ones. So we're going to eventually pop a couple of those big ones in there. Won't do it at the minute until I actually finish decorating. There's 1 more or 2 more steps to decorating this one. The inside is pretty much done. So as you can see, when you fold it closed, it's quite a bulgy card because let's face it, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers of paper there, and some of it's been curled, so it's not going to sit flat. It's quite thick. So what we're going to give it is a wee belly band. So I've got that here. So this is 9 inches by 1.5 inches. Plus, also don't like it completely bare on the front, so I'm going to pop a couple of panels, which makes it even thicker. A couple of panels of the crushed curry on the outside, but to make those a little bit more special, I'm going to emboss them. Forgive me as I walk away and get my cut and emboss. I'm going to emboss those 2 front panels, and I can definitely see the colour difference there. Definitely got some bumblebee in there, some old bumblebee. Okay, so I'm going to emboss these 2 front panels with the delicate doily embossing folder. So this is the one that comes with the hybrid, so it comes with the dies as well. So what I'm going to do is pop our 2 halves on the front, get them as straight and as central as I can, so that I'm going to have this lovely doily effect going across both panels. Ooh, that didn't work. Going across both panels and evenly spread across both sides, so it looks continuous. That's the plan anyway. Okay, so let's pop that through. You could leave those 2 thinner panels as 1 big thick panel and then emboss them and then cut them in half. That might be easier if you're doing this one later. Might be easier to do it that way, but I wanted to prepare the kits completely, so I cut them first. Anyway, so that's it. So you can see here now I've got 2 halves of the really nice doily design, one on one side and one on the other, sort of split in the middle, or roughly the middle. Get rid of that. Oh, okay, we'll bring back our card. And we'll just glue. If our glue's decided to bear with us, glue these to the front. Now, the front of this card and the belly band aren't particularly decorative, because I think there's most of the star of the show is on the inside with this card. I just wanted to add a wee bit of decoration without going overboard. You can, of course, and this is what Sam, Mixed Up Craft Sam, did. She actually did some pretty over-the-top decoration actually on her belly band. So the belly band itself was pretty over the top. So it's up to you. You can leave it as I am, and I'm just gonna leave it as a straight belly band, or you can decorate that as well. Maybe bring some more flowers and things from the inside to the outside. So the belly band, I wasn't quite sure how big it had to be, or how expansive. So I am going to fold it around the card so we get it exactly right. So what I'm going to do is hold it in place and then bend it around the card. And if I've bent it properly, those two ends should meet perfectly in the back. And they're pretty good. Okay, so doing that, our belly band should, in theory, slip off and on pretty easily. So I'm going to just glue those together. As such, just give it a bit of a hold, because it's going to take a couple of seconds to take. And then that's our belly band. The last thing we need to do is add that bling inside. I might just leave that to dry a wee bit. So our bling, as I say, if you're doing this as part of our gathering, our Southern Tassie gathering, I've already given you 3 bling. 2 of them would be the big ones, which I anticipate, well, jewels, 2 the big ones that I anticipate go in the centre of each of our little daisies, and then just a smaller one just to make up the numbers. Because I always put my embellishments on in odd numbers. So 3, 5, 7 if I'm feeling exceptionally decadent. So 1, 2, and let's pop the 3rd one just here. Here we are. So that gives our little daisies a little bit of a shiny centre as well. So it makes this thing even thicker than it was before. So let's hope our belly band still fits. There we are. So that's the front. There's with our little belly band intact, and those really nice embossed crushed curry panels on the front. As I say, you could add a circle or something, and then some flowers and things on the front there if you wanted to go a little bit more extravagant. But as I say, I think she says that her belly band's going to come off easily. Take it down. There we go. But I think the star of the show is actually inside, and basically it's going to sit up. Once you give it to your lucky recipient, it's going to sit up like that anyway. So the belly band might be surplus to requirements. There we go. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that one. Took about half an hour, did it? Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, that's our card. So as I say, this is the card I'm going to feature in my August newsletter, and we're doing it at our Tassie get together as well. So yeah, hopefully you like that one, and join me for more cards into the future. Okay, bye everyone.